I want you to picture a specific moment. Maybe it happened this morning, maybe last week. You're just sitting there, maybe at your desk, you may be on the couch, and you are stuck.
Right.
And I don't mean physically stuck. I mean emotionally, mentally. You feel like frozen.
Yeah, that paralysis. We all know that feeling.
Exactly. You know you need to send that one email, but you're just paralyzed by this weird, vague fear.
Or you just stew it. Right. Replaying some argument in your head over and over.
Oh, totally. Like a bad song on repeat. Or, and this is my personal favorite, you're just locked in this state of absolute heavy laziness.
Couch lock.
Couch lock.
Right.
You know you should move. You know the gym is waiting, but it feels like the gravity in the room just got turned way, way up.
And the advice we always get, or that we tell ourselves, is just snap out of it.
Just flip the switch.
Yeah.
Stop being scared. Be brave. Stop being lazy. Be productive.
Right. That's the whole just do it mindset, isn't it? This idea that our mind is just a simple binary system.
Yes, a toggle switch. Happy or sad. On or off. But here's the problem, and I think deep down everyone listening knows this. It almost never works.
No.
Trying to flip a switch from, abject terror to superhero confidence in 1 second, it just blows a fuse.
And then you feel worse.
You feel worse because you couldn't make the jump. You feel broken. But what if the reason it fails isn't because you're weak?
Okay.
What if it's because you're just using the wrong user interface? You're looking for a switch, but your mind actually works like a dial.
That is a perfect way to frame it. And that right there brings us to the core of our whole discussion today.
Here we go.
We're back with the classic Mosaic Truth series, and today we are unpacking the principle of polarity.
And before anyone hears polarity and, rolls their eyes thinking about high school science class, let's be clear. This is one of the big ones. This is really practical stuff.
It is. It comes from the Kybalion, that foundational text we've been exploring, and the main idea is, well, it's deceptively simple. The principle states, opposites are actually the same thing, just at different degrees of intensity.
It sounds like a riddle,
Well,
opposites are the same.
It does, but it's really about mechanics, mental mechanics. This isn't magic. It's about emotional regulation and understanding the physics of your own mind.
It's realizing you don't have to leap across some huge canyon to change how you feel.
You just have to turn the dial, just a few degrees.
I love that. And before we get really deep into the mechanics of that dial, and we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually turn it, I just have a quick favor to ask. If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one. It really helps us keep making these.
So let's talk about the mission for today.
Yeah.
The goal here is to help you stop being a victim of those extreme mood swings where you feel tossed around by anger or fear.
Right, like a ship in a storm.
And help you become the operator of your own mental state. We want to teach you how to use this mental dial to shift your state gradually, sustainably.
And what's so cool about this is that it's not just some ancient philosophy. It lines up perfectly with, modern psychology.
It really does. You can draw a straight line from this hermetic idea to modern cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and dialectical thinking. They're all pointing at the same fundamental truth.
Okay, so let's define it. Let's really unpack polarity. The Kybalion says everything is dual, everything has poles.
Right. Everything has its pair of opposites, and then it adds the kicker.
Which is?
Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree.
Okay, that's the part that trips people up. I can hear the skeptic in my head right now saying, hang on, how can hot be the same as cold? How is love the same as hate? They feel completely different.
And that's a totally valid question. So let's use the classic example from the book itself just to ground this in physics.
Okay.
Think about a thermometer. Just, visualize one in your mind.
Got it. Glass tube, red line.
Exactly. At the bottom, we call it cold. At the top, we call it heat. But if you look really closely at that thermometer, can you point to the exact millimeter, the exact line where cold stops and heat begins?
No, you can't. It's a continuous slide.
Exactly. There's no such thing as absolute cold or absolute heat as separate forces. They're both just measurements of thermal energy.
So cold is just a word we use for a low amount of heat.
Precisely. It's all just temperature. It's all molecular vibration, just at different speeds. Cold isn't the enemy of heat. It's just a lower frequency of it.
Okay, that makes sense. Like light and darkness.
Perfect analogy. Darkness isn't a thing you can shovel out of a room.
Right, you can't bottle it.
You just introduce light. You don't fight the darkness. You turn up the light. You adjust the dial on the dimmer switch.
I get the physics of it. That totally clicks. But here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a little controversial. The Kybalion says this same rule applies to our emotions.
Yes. to our mental states.
And this is where I sometimes get stuck. Like, take love and hate. Those feel like polar opposites. If I love someone, I want them near me. If I hate someone, I mean, they feel like totally different biological reactions.
This is where the rubber meets the road. The text argues that emotions we think of as enemies, like love and hate, are actually just two ends of the same scale.
What scale is that?
The scale of emotional attachment. They are both states of high intensity focus on another person.
Walk me through that.
Okay, think about it. The real opposite of love isn't hate. The real opposite of love is indifference. If you truly hate someone, you are obsessed with them. You think about them constantly. Your heart rate goes up when you see their name. You are deeply, deeply attached, just at the negative pole.
Wow. Yeah, that actually hits home. If I truly didn't care, I wouldn't hate them. I just wouldn't think about them at all.
Exactly. You'd be at 0 on the scale. When you hate, you're just vibrated to the other end. That old saying, a thin line between love and hate.
It's actually the same line.
It's the same dial. And this also applies to fear and courage.
That's another big one. We think of fear as this, like, monster that attacks us. And courage is this separate thing we have to go find somewhere.
But they're on the same scale. Let's call it the scale of confidence or risk assessment. Fear is the low degree, courage is the high degree. But they're both dealing with the same subject, the unknown.
So if I'm feeling fear, that means the potential for courage is already there.
Yes. And that's the really empowering part. You don't have to go find courage. If you have a lot of fear, you actually have a lot of raw material. You just have the dial turned way down. You don't need to import a new emotion. You need to transmute the one you already have.
So it's about the scale, not the label we put on the feeling.
That's the key insight. You can't turn east into west or, turn the color red into a sound.
Right. They're different categories.
But you can slide from fear to courage because they belong to the same class.
Huh.
You're not trying to swap one thing for a totally different thing.
You're just sliding the fader up or down on the same track.
You got it. And that makes it feel so much more manageable.
It really does. And this is why it's so practical, right? This isn't just philosophy. This connects directly to how we look at things like anxiety today.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that connection to something like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT.
Yeah.
One of the biggest cognitive distortions that CBT identifies, these are, the mental traps we fall into, is called all or nothing thinking. Black and white thinking.
Oh, I live there sometimes. If I'm not a total success, I'm a total failure.
Exactly. I ate one cookie, so I ruined my diet. Might as well eat the whole box.
Been there, done that. It's a binary. It's that switch again.
And it creates so much anxiety because life is almost never a perfect on. It's messy. So if you demand perfection, you're going to spend most of your time feeling like a failure.
It's a recipe for misery.
So Polarity introduces the gray area. It introduces the degrees. It says, okay, you're not at total success today, but maybe you're 2 degrees warmer than you were yesterday. It allows for progress.
It takes the pressure off. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be a little bit warmer than you were a moment ago.
And that leads to the method they called mental transmutation.
Which sounds very mystical, like alchemy.
It does, but it's really just the art of changing the vibration. It's the art of turning the dial. You're taking the heavy lead of a mood like lethargy and just rearranging its vibration to become the gold of action.
And that analogy of lighting a dark room, it's perfect. If you're in a dark mood, you don't fight the mood. You don't analyze the darkness.
Right, you don't ask, why is it so dark in here?
You just introduce a little bit of light.
And this is crucial. You introduce it by degrees. This is where most people go wrong. They try to flick on a giant floodlight instantly.
We try to go from I'm depressed to I'm the happiest person alive in like 5 seconds.
And your brain knows you're lying. It feels fake. It creates this internal dissonance, and it leads to burnout. Small shifts are what's sustainable.
Okay, this brings us to the guardrails, because I can hear people listening to this, especially anyone who's really struggled, and thinking, wait, is this just toxic positivity? Are you telling me to just smile when I'm suffering?
That is the most important question. And the sources are very, very clear on this. Polarity is not denial. It is not delusion.
So we're not saying ignore your sadness, just act happy.
No. Toxic positivity is when you deny reality. It's like standing in a freezing room, shivering and screaming, it's hot in here, everything's fine. That's just repression.
So what does polarity look like in that freezing room?
Polarity is looking at the thermometer and saying, okay, it is freezing in here. I am cold. This is miserable. You validate the starting point.
You start with the truth.
I have to start with the truth, but then you say, and I know the furnace works, and I'm going to turn it up just 2 degrees. You acknowledge where you are, but you recognize it's not the only place you can be.
So you have to know where the dial is set before you can even think about turning it.
Exactly. Which leads to the second guardrail. Do not force a fake flip.
That's the switch mentality sneaking back in.
It is. If you are feeling despair, do not aim for ecstasy. The gap is just too wide. Your nervous system will reject it.
So what do you aim for?
Aim for neutral. Aim for just slightly less miserable.
Neutral is so underrated. We act like if we're not happy, we're failing. But neutral is a huge win if you've been in despair.
It's the most important step. It's the fulcrum. Once you get to neutral, then you can start moving toward the positive.
And what's the last guardrail? Something about accountability.
Yes, we can't use this to bypass responsibility. If you did something wrong, if you hurt someone, feeling guilt is appropriate. That's your moral compass working.
So you don't just say, oh, I feel guilty. Let me just dial that up to I'm fine.
Exactly. You don't use the scale to move from guilt to indifference. You use the scale to move from guilt to reparation, from feeling bad about what I did to doing something to fix it.
That's a key distinction. Okay, so we have the theory. We know it's a dial. We know we need to move by degrees. How do we actually do it, step by step?
Okay, we can break it down into 4 practical steps. Step 1, name the scale.
Name the scale. What does that mean?
It means you can't fix a problem you can't define. If you just say, I feel bad, that's too vague. Your brain doesn't know what to do with that.
So you need to get more specific?
You need to identify what game you're actually playing. Is this a scale of anger? A scale of energy? Confidence. Because the solution for low energy is totally different from high anxiety.
So instead of I feel awful, it's I'm at the low end of the energy scale.
Right, because once you name the scale, you imply there's an up. It creates a ladder.
Okay, I like that. So after we name the scale, step 2 is locate where you are.
And this requires radical honesty.
Yeah.
No judgment. It's just reading the data. Right now, on a scale of cold to hot, I am freezing.
I am furious. I'm terrified. Just own it.
Yes. Establish your baseline. Then, step 3, choose the next better degree.
And this is the magic, right? Not the top, just the next notch up.
The very next one. What is the state that is just one step better than where you are right now? If you're frozen with fear, maybe the next step isn't courage. Maybe it's just hesitant movement.
Hesitant movement is a huge victory from frozen.
It is. And finally, step 4. Stabilize with a proof action and language.
Anchor the shift.
Yes. We're physical beings. You can't just think your way into a new state. You have to act your way into it. You need some kind of proof that you've actually moved the dial.
Okay, let's make this really concrete. 3 examples. Work, relationships, habits, the big 3.
Let's start with work, the classic overwhelm.
Okay, the scenario. You're staring at a huge to-do list. You're paralyzed. You're just clicking between browser tabs, not actually doing anything.
The tab shuffle, a classic freeze response.
So step 1, name the scale.
Let's call it the paralysis action scale.
Step 2, locate yourself. I am frozen. I am a 1 out of 10. I am a statue.
Okay. Step 3, choose the next better degree. Now, the mistake is thinking the next degree is finish the project.
Right, that's way too big of a jump.
So the next degree is just slightly active. The shift is don't try to finish the project. Just write down the very first step, or even smaller. Just open the document and name the file.
That's it. Just name the file.
Just name the file. That is your step 4, the proof action.
But my brain is screaming, that's not real work. You're still procrastinating.
But it is movement. You've gone from static to kinetic. You've broken the surface tension. And once you're at a 2, it's so much easier to get to a 3.
Momentum. Okay, let's do relationships. The argument.
Ah, yes. You're arguing with your partner. You feel that wall going up. You're getting defensive. You're already planning your rebuttal while they're still talking.
Guilty. I stop listening and start lawyering.
So, step 1, name the scale. Let's say it's the hostility understanding scale.
Step 2, locate. I am at maximum hostility. I'm in the bunker.
So what's the next better degree? You're not ready to say I'm sorry yet. That would feel fake.
No way.
The next degree is just curiosity, or even just pausing.
So the shift, the proof action, is instead of shouting back, ask one question.
Yes. Something like, can you help me understand why that upset you?
Oof. That is so hard to say when you're mad.
It is. It's a discipline. But look what that question does. It shifts the polarity. You're moving from against to with. You've turned the dial from defend to inquire. You don't have to agree yet. You just have to understand.
And that changes the whole temperature of the room. Okay, last one. Habits. The couch lock.
The inertia momentum scale.
Yep. It's evening, you promise yourself you'd go to the gym, but the couch has you in its clutches.
You're at zero momentum. An object at rest stays at rest.
Exactly. So what's the next degree?
Do not commit to the workout. Don't even think about it. The friction is too high.
So what's the shift?
Commit to putting on your shoes.
Just put on my shoes.
While
I'm still on the couch.
Just the shoes. That is the proof action. It's so small you can't say no. And once your shoes are on, the dial has turned. You've moved from stationary to in motion.
And it's psychologically much harder to sit back down on the couch if you're already wearing gym shoes.
You've tricked your brain into momentum. It's just energy management.
This is so practical. Okay, I want to do something a little different now. I want to actually guide everyone listening through this right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, so if you're listening and you're not driving, please just take a second with us. Let's try this live. We'll call it the polarity dial exercise.
First, pick one challenge area, just one thing you're facing right now, a stressful email, a feeling of anxiety. Just get it in your mind.
Got it. Okay, step 1. Name the scale for that feeling. What are the 2 poles? The worst version on the bottom, the best version on the top.
Maybe it's chaos to order or fear to calm. Just visualize that line like a slider.
Now, step 2. Name your current degree.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
No judgment. Where are you on that scale right now? Just acknowledge it. I'm stressed. I'm procrastinating.
Now, step 3. Choose the next better degree. Not the top, just the next step up. What's one tiny thing that would feel slightly better?
And choose one phrase that matches that new degree. Maybe it's just, I can handle the first minute of this, or I am willing to listen, or even just, I am breathing.
And finally, choose one proof action. What is one tiny physical thing you can do in the next 60 seconds to confirm that shift? Stand up, drink a glass of water, put on the shoes.
Take a breath, and just make a calm commitment to yourself to repeat this process, degree by degree. You don't have to fix it all today. You just have to turn the dial one notch.
That's the whole practice. It's not a one-time fix. It's a constant, gentle adjustment.
It feels really grounding. I hope people actually did that with us. It makes a difference just to name it.
It really does. Okay, as we start to wrap up, I think we should hit some common misunderstandings.
Good idea. Let's do some rapid-fire corrections. First one, people thinking this is just repression, pushing bad feelings down.
And it's the exact opposite. Repression is pretending the room isn't cold. Polarity is acknowledging the cold and then actively adding heat. You're transforming the energy, not hiding it.
Correction 2, thinking it happens instantly. I tried this for a minute and I'm still sad.
It's a practice, not a pill. The Hermetists called it the art of patience. You'll turn the dial and it'll slip back. That's normal. You just gently turn it again. You're building a new muscle.
Correction 3, believing opposites are totally separate things.
This is the big mental shift. Realizing your fear has the seed of your courage already inside it. You don't need to go shopping for new emotions. You just have to transmute what you've already got.
I love that. Correction 4, wait for the outside world to change your dial.
I'll be happy when. That's giving away all your power. Polarity is an internal dial. You control the setting no matter what the weather is like outside.
And the last one, correction 5, thinking that neutral is a failure.
This is so big for high achievers. We're obsessed with being happy. But neutral is the gateway. Neutral is safe ground. If you can get from despair to neutral, you are winning.
Neutral is winning. I'll put that on a t-shirt.
It's the essential step. You can't jump from negative to positive without passing through zero.
This has been huge. Let's do a quick rapid-fire recap to lock all this in.
Let's flow through it.
Opposites are the same thing in different degrees.
The scale matters more than the label.
Replace all-or-nothing thinking with sliding scales.
Shift by degrees, not by loops.
Name the scale to tame the emotion.
Anchor the shift with a proof action.
And you control the dial of your own attention.
That's the whole toolkit.
Okay, so now here's where it gets really interesting. We've just spent all this time talking about how to turn the dial up.
Right, how to create heat.
But what happens when the pendulum swings back? Because it will swing back.
That is the reality of nature. The tide goes out, the sun goes down, nothing stays at the peak forever.
So next time, in our next one, we're going to dive into the principle of rhythm.
We're going to talk about how to ride that wave without panicking and how to neutralize the backward swing so it doesn't drag you all the way back down to the bottom.
It's all about resilience. So next up is rhythm, riding the wave without panic. You really don't want to miss that one.
It's the perfect follow-up to everything we discussed today.
This has been incredible. I feel like I have a new user manual for my own brain.
It's always there, just waiting for you to use it. Turn the dial.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.